We just finished chopping up a little bit of sugar maple for the smoked salmon. Gotta love these meal kits. Can be out of the forest and onto the stove in under 5 minutes. Oh yeah, you know, thanks me, chef. This matches my vest perfectly. This young man, I have so much respect for him and what he's done with his business. Not only is he making styling stuff, it's all made right here in Canada. It looks great, it feels great, and makes me look good. How's my hair? My hair okay? Okay, good. Hi, my name is Tony. Today, I'm going to be cooking a veal scallopini kit. This probably should take 15 minutes from beginning to end. Beautiful part about this kit, it's got everything that you want right inside the kit. These are chef-driven kits. I mean, you can get a food kit just about anywhere, but these are kits that are food exactly the same way that it might be prepared in a restaurant. So it's dinner, but it's, you know, one level up. I'm gonna do a little bit of advanced prep. I've got some parchment paper. I'm gonna cut this, gonna line my baking sheet with it. This helps me later on because I don't have to scrape that baking sheet. I've preheated my oven to 425 degrees. I have a 4-liter sauce pot. I filled it 3/4 of the way up. I'm gonna use this sauce pot twice today. I'm gonna boil potatoes in it, and I'm gonna cook rapini in it. I don't like to make a huge mess with the number of pots and pans, so I'm gonna use the water twice. If you prefer, you can have 2 sauce pots, one for the rapini, one for the potatoes. Both are good. We're gonna bring this up to a boil because it's gonna be one of the very first things that we do. And let's take a look at the contents of the bag. Fresh rapini, fingerling potatoes, veal scallopini. The veal scallopini has been pre-portioned, 5.5 ounces. This veal scallopini is cut from the strip loin of the veal. The veal that we use is a choice veal. It's ethically raised. The strip loin is basically the same cut that you would cut a New York out of. So it's a nice tender cut of meat. It only requires a light amount of pounding before you cook the dish, and it doesn't require any mastication or holes put into it, and it should be fork tender when everything is said and done. And we have a bunch of little containers. We have butter for finishing, fresh lemon, parsley, flour, rosemary, garlic cloves, and dried chilies. Perfect. Start off with the potatoes. Potatoes are on. I like to salt my potato water. Salty like the ocean, as they say. Fingerling potatoes, and just cut them in half. These are local Ontario potatoes. This year's crop. They're still super, super firm. Notice the yellow flesh. So these are Yukon Gold fingerling potatoes. That's a mouthful, Yukon Gold fingerling potatoes. Take a dinner plate. We're gonna take some all-purpose flour, spread it around on the plate. 12-inch frying pan. Frying pan can be frying pan of your choice, non-stick, cast iron if you like. I like stainless steel because it keeps the sauces bright in color. One of the tricks here is that if you brown the meat too much or the flour too much, when you go to finish your sauce is going to have a dark color to it. It's very important to cook at a little bit lower heat for the veal scallopini. Still get a little bit of a sear on it, but don't cook it to the point where your sauce is dark. Preheat this one to a medium heat. We have veal scallopini. We have 2 portions, 5.5 ounces each. They've been lightly pounded. This veal scallopini, it's cut from what we call the veal strip loin, which is the same cut that a New York steak comes from. So it's not cut up off the hip or the shoulder. It's actually a really good quality cut, lots of flavor, super tender. And the way that we prep them is we just lightly pound them just to flatten them out, just like that. We don't have to do anything more than just a light pounding. If I make this dish properly today, you'll be able to cut this veal with a fork. There's 2 portions, 3 pieces of veal per portion, 6 pieces total. Gonna give these guys a super light flour, shake off the excess. Now the flouring process over here adds a little texture of crispiness to the veal. It also helps thicken the sauce because the sauce, in essence, is only gonna be butter, white wine, and lemon juice. So this flouring process that we're doing right here, it's almost like making a roux but you're going to do the whole process. You're going to make the whole process in the pan. So lightly floured. We have about 2 tablespoons of olive oil in the frying pan. Oh, and my water is boiling. Perfect. Perfect time to put the potatoes in. On a work ahead schedule, the potatoes are what takes the longest in this particular dish. We're going to drop those potatoes into the boiling water. The water has been salted. And we're going to let these boil for just a couple of minutes, and we're going to soften them. The idea behind softening the potatoes here, or in par cooking them, is that you don't have to finish them completely in the oven. If you par cook them here, what you're going to end up with is a potato that's soft all the way through, but because it's been roasted, it'll be crispy on the outside. So that's what the blanching process does. We're going to let these guys boil for a minute. The rosemary is going to be used for the potatoes. The best thing to do is just pull the rosemary off of the stalk, just like that. I love the smell of rosemary. After it's been pulled off, we're going to give this just a light chop. Not too fine. You don't want it to burn in the oven. That works. And move it over to one of these little condiment bowls. On the topic of working ahead, since I have my parsley out, the parsley is going to be what we're going to finish the veal with. So this is Italian dish, Italian parsley. So this is flat leaf Italian parsley. I'm going to take off any of the heavy ends, otherwise we're going to use the rest of it, tighten it all up. And we're going to move this one to a condiment bowl. We'll come back and get that later. Garlic. Garlic has been pre-peeled already. Best way to chop the garlic, well, you can use a rasp or whatever, but if you're like me and you like to do everything with one knife, I'm using a 9-inch petty knife today. I'm going to put the garlic down, and then with my blade, I'm going to give it a good flatten, just like that. And then from there, we're going to give it a little chop. If you're one of the people that likes to work ahead, you can actually chop some of this garlic just the way that I'm doing, and you can keep it in your fridge in oil. Thing is, if you're going to use it within a week or so, that's not a bad idea. Don't leave it any longer than that. And we'll set that aside. Roasting pan ready for the potatoes. These fingerling potatoes, because they're so thin, they don't really take a long time to blanch. They blanch fairly quickly, so we're going to let them cook down a little bit. We can check on them. They need another minute. Well, let's have a look at our rapini then in the meantime, see what we can do to work ahead with that. For the rapini, what we're going to do is any of the super heavy stock like this one here, we're going to put one cut in it. And the idea behind putting one cut in the heavy stock has to do with having it cook in a more uniform time frame. You don't want to have the leaves cooking a lot faster than the stock because it becomes uneven on the plate. So we're just going to cut the heavy ones. We're going to discard any leaves that have any black or discoloration on them. There, this is all ready to go. And we'll go back to the potatoes, see how they're doing. When the potatoes are soft to the touch, they're ready. This lemon is going to be used in the making of the sauce. What we're going to do is to maximize the juice out of it. We're going to roll it. There, now it's all nice and soft. Cut this guy, have him ready, get the butter ready, and go back and check on my potatoes. I'm going to pull one of them out. Just have a look what they look like on the inside. Yeah, they're there. He's starting to cook from the outside in. You can see the different colors. I mean, this potato is definitely not cooked, but decent amount of salt in the water. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. I'm going to take the potatoes and transfer them into a mixing bowl with my trusty little spider here. That way, when it's time, I can use the same water for making my rapini. So potatoes go into mixing bowl. At this point, we're going to put a generous amount of salt, all of the rosemary, black pepper, a little bit of garlic. I'm going to toss them with some extra virgin olive oil. If you want a crispy potato, the key is to make sure that it's thoroughly coated in the olive oil. So we're going to thoroughly coat them. And then they go onto the parchment paper. Keep them near the middle here like that. And into the oven. The oven was preheated at 425 degrees. Perfect temperature for roasting a potato. These are going to be perfectly ready. When you see them getting a little golden brown on the edges, that's when they're done. These need 8 to 10 minutes, so what we'll do is we'll set a timer for 8 minutes. 8 minutes. Timer's been set. I guess we'll circle back in 8 minutes. So a guy walks into a bar, asks for 2 hurricanes and a Corona. The bartender says, well, that'll be 2020. 8 minutes are up. Not sure what you guys did with your last 8 minutes. Beautiful Ontario Pinot Grigio. We're checking these potatoes. There they are. They're starting to get some nice little color on them. Give them a little stir. Oh, we'll take them out of the convection oven for salting. A little more salt. And back in. So these potatoes are about 2-3 minutes away, not much longer than that, which gives us enough time to finish the rest of our dish. If everything's timed properly, all the components hit the dish at the same time, and they'll all be piping hot and ready to eat. Well, I'm going to work on the rapini next. The water is boiling. It's already been salted. Take off all the little brown bits. And we're going to just give this little trim on the bottom here. And drop that into the boiling water. Now the rapini, what we're going to do with this one here is we're going to blanch it. We're going to take it out. We're going to let it come to room temperature, and then we're going to finish it in a frying pan with a little bit of chili, a little bit of garlic, and then we'll set it aside. And when it comes time to plate, we'll put it on the plate, and the veal scallopini will come onto the plate at the same time as well. Going to add a drop more olive oil to this. Okay. Perfect. We're going to turn this up to about a medium temperature. Take the veal scallopini, and the veal scallopini goes into the frying pan. Now I haven't seasoned the veal. I only put flour on it, so we're going to season it at this point. A little bit of salt. Make sure you get every piece. A small amount of black pepper. Check on your rapini, give it a little stir. So the Italians eat 90% of their vegetables al dente. The only one they don't eat al dente is rapini. They're of the belief that rapini has to just go past that al dente stage in order for it to be sweet. Anything less than sweet rapini in an Italian household is just a faux pas. It can't be done. And the way to do that is cook it a little longer and a little extra salt. If you take a look at the veal scallopini, do you see the juices running to the top? That means it's time to flip. When the juices come to the top, you flip the veal scallopini. And you want to cook this about 50% of the way. It should be still pink in the middle when it comes out of the frying pan at this process, at this stage. And we're going to make the sauce in there. Okay. So veal scallopini is cooking along nicely. We're going to season this side. A little salt. A little black pepper. And then again, when it comes to this side, you'll see the juices running to the top again. As soon as the juices start to come to the top again, like you see on this one here, you see the juices right there. And that means that at this stage, it's time to take the veal scallopini off. So some of these pieces cooked a little faster than others. I'll start by taking them off first. Try not to break them. Okay. At this stage, we want to add a little bit of white wine to this frying pan. This is the deglazing process. White wine, deglaze, and we have rapini ready. Rapini's out. So to deglaze, what we're going to do is we're going to scrape up all the flour that was on the bottom of the veal scallopini that's stuck to the frying pan. And this, in essence, is going to be what helps to thicken the sauce. So we're deglazing. We started off with the white wine first. The white wine goes in. You cook this thoroughly and allow all the alcohol to evaporate and just leave the beautiful white wine flavor. One of the reasons why it's so important to learn how to make this dish at home is this is really one of the only dishes that don't travel because of the lemon and the meat. Once you put the lemon into the sauce and you put it on top of the meat, the lemon starts to cook the meat the same way that ceviche would happen, and that doesn't travel very well. So we're going to squeeze this lemon. I'm squeezing it through my hands. Turn the heat down. I'm going to squeeze it through my fingers. That way I can catch any of the seeds. Put that aside. Squeeze this one. Perfect. Now we're going to turn the heat all the way down. Low, low, low simmer. Got the lemon in there. Just as low as that goes. Once that's on low, I'm going to start getting ready to plate. Don't need the water anymore. Discard that. New frying pan, and we're going to go to a high heat for that. Extra virgin olive oil. There we are. So for the rapini, what we're going to do is we're going to take the remaining amount of garlic. We're going to add that to the frying pan. Going to get a light brown on that, and a little sprinkling of these chili peppers. Now you can add as many as you want. I'm just going to add about that many. We're going to try not to brown this garlic too much. Just want to get a little bit of color on it. That's it right there. And this frying pan's hot right now. It's a really, really, really hot frying pan, so you got to work quickly. So we're going to take the rapini and into the frying pan it goes. Give it a quick stir. That little bit of water that I threw in at the end, that's a good thing. Helps steam it, bring temperature back. We're going to finish it with a little bit of salt. It already has the garlic and chili pepper on it. There we are. That's ready for plating, and this can go off. Potatoes should be perfect at this point. Oh yeah, potatoes are done. Okay, finishing steps. Add the butter. Go to about a medium heat. And give this butter a good little melt in here. There we are. When the butter is almost completely melted, turn the heat off. Add the veal scallopini back into the frying pan. Now there's still enough residual heat in this frying pan to warm this veal scallopini up. The idea behind me turning this heat off at this stage is I don't want to boil the meat. Boiling this meat at this stage would make it super tough. We're going to finish it with the chopped parsley, and then we're going to get ready to plate. Plating looks like we're going to put the potatoes down first today. Oh yeah. Crispy fingerling potatoes. I'm going to make a little raft. Potatoes are going to go down this way. Oh, these smell great. Nice golden color. Nothing like new crop potatoes straight out of Ontario. We take the rapini. Do my rapini just across the top of the plate. Super simple. And then veal scallopini. There you have it. Veal scallopini for two. It smells amazing. I hope it tastes good. Here we go. Let's check the color on it. Oh, look at that. Perfect. Just lightly pink on the middle. Mmm. Wow. Super tender. I'm happy with that. Bon appetit.